Okay, this is JT picking up. This is part 2 of Understanding the Mystery of the Age. Try to pick up where I left off on part 1, where basically it was saying that Jesus was the only one who came down from heaven. Nobody's ever been up there. So if heaven is not been lost, then gaining heaven is not restoration. You know, restoration is not bringing us to heaven to be gone away from 10,000 years. Remember, it says that there will be people who are going to rise up out of their graves, and they're going to be given a new flesh. Now, reading on, it says, for that even in Paul's day, there was another gospel, another Messiah, and another Spirit being taught and spreaded, that if you receive these, you might well bear with. And the true gospel lets us know who this may be. 2 Corinthians 11:14, Satan transforms himself into an angel of light. You know, that 2 Corinthians 11:4 was that, in Paul's day, there's another gospel, another Messiah, another Spirit being taught and spread it. And he said that if you receive this, you might well bear with him. And so Satan, 2 Corinthians 11:14, Satan transforms himself into an angel of light. So this would be a light that tries to mimic the true light. John 8:12, Jesus says that he is the light of this world. Now, I use the name Jesus because that's the name millions know him by, but he does have a Hebrew name, and his Hebrew name is Yahushua HaMashiach. I'll get into the names shortly. Now, Romans 16:17-18 says, now I beseech you, brothers, mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to doctrine, which you were taught by the Apostle Paul and company, and avoid them, for they that serve not our Lord Jesus Christ, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. Now, Romans 16:25-26, this is a mystery that has been kept secret since the world began, but is now being made known and revealed. Let's see. Through the prophetic scriptures, according to the commandments of the everlasting Elohim, made known to all nations to advance the obedience of faith. Luke 4:8. After Satan offers Jesus the kingdoms of the world in exchange for bowing down to Satan, Jesus says to Satan, quote, get thee behind me, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your Elohim, or the Lord your God, and only him will you serve, unquote. This was the act that put the devil under the feet of Jesus and also under our feet. And it was only recently that I asked this question. When did Satan worship Elohim? See, we all know that Satan has to serve him, but Jesus didn't only say he was going to serve him. Jesus said he was going to worship Elohim. So Jesus is the light, the truth, and he doesn't lie. So the only question, if you believe Jesus is telling the truth, and I do, then the only question is, when did Satan worship the Most High? When? I mean, these were the words of Jesus that said these things would be, and that this was the commandment for the age. So again, I ask, when did Satan actually worship the Elohim? From the revealed scriptures which we were taught here, it shows then the only reason that Satan would transform himself into the angel of light is to try to mimic the true light. Revelation 12:17, quote, and the dragon was angry with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, those who kept the commandments of Yah and the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Just a second. Okay. Revelation 17:1. A beast rises up out of the water with 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, this and 10 crowns with the names of blasphemy upon his heads. Now, I'm getting into stuff that a lot of churches are not allowed to teach. Now, so I hope you pay attention here and share my video because I'm explaining, just what it means when it talks about 2 Corinthians 11:4, another spirit, another gospel, another Messiah. Paul said you might bear with him. Paul didn't say avoid him, don't have nothing to do with him, rebuke him and tell him to get the heck away from you. Paul said you might bear with him. Well, we're going to find out why Paul said that. Now, Revelation 17:1, a beast rises up out of the water with 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns with the names of blasphemy upon his heads. This is related to the same 4 beasts that were seen by the prophet Daniel in chapter 7, that each would rule the world at different times. In order, Daniel sees a lion with eagle's wings as the first beast, a 4-headed leopard as the second beast, a bear with 3 ribs in his mouth as a third beast, and a diverse beast with 10 horns and great iron teeth as the fourth beast. It was diverse from all the beasts before it. Now, while Daniel was considering the horns, a little horn came up among the 10 horns and plucked up 3 of the other horns. Now, let's count the heads of these beasts. The lion's head is 1 head. The 4-headed beast with the lion's head makes 5 heads. The bear makes 6 heads, and the diverse beast with all the other 6 makes 7 heads. This is your 7-head beast of Revelation 13:1, which was like a leopard, has the feet like a bear, and a mouth like a lion. The dragon gave him his seat of power and authority. This beast also has a head with a deadly wound that was healed. Now, what does this beast represent? This is a combining of all the former kingdoms that each ruled the world at a time. All of these would be combined together to make a whole one world government, which would consist of, give me just a second here. Okay. Which would consist of a one world government, a one world currency, a one world religion, and a one world language. This is that kingdom that has the names of blasphemy upon it. This was the act that was used to make war with the remnant of the seed of Israel. This is where you see Satan, who transformed himself into an angel of light, representing the head of a government and a belief set that binds the world together with a single money system and a single language. But this beast would receive a deadly wound, so it would not complete its intention. Prophecy also tells us exactly how long this beast would rule, that it would rule for 1260 days. Now, Daniel 12:4 prophecy would not be understood until the end times, so we couldn't fully know until after it happened. Ezekiel 4:6 lets us know that there can be a day-to-year code that could make 1260 days into 1260 prophetic days, or 1260 years. Now, where does this line up? In 538 AD, the RCC was given its seat of power and authority in 1798. I'm sorry. Let me read that again. In 538 AD, the RCC was given its seat of power and authority. And in 1798, the French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte sent General Berthier to arrest the Pope and claim this power. This beast there received a deadly wound, because from 538 AD to 798 AD is exactly 1260 years, just as perfectly predicted 1,000 years perhaps before it happened. No, let me just say, no, more like 500 years before it happened. Now, however, in Revelation 17:3, John the Revelator sees a scarlet colored beast filled with the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. This is the same beast, except this time it's in its best condition. And sitting on this beast now is a woman arrayed in purple and scarlet, decked out with gold and precious stones and pearls, and holding a golden cup filled with abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And written on her forehead was a name which was Mystery, Babylon the Great, and Mother of Harlots and Abominations of the earth. Now, before John saw the beast and the woman, before he saw this beast and this woman sitting on this beast, he was told by the angel that he would be shown the judgment of the great whore that sits on many waters. This means that this beast was a whore before the woman was sitting on it. The whore is the beast. The woman that sits on the beast, hang on, the woman that sits on the beast represents a great city, unlike the woman in Revelation 12 who has a crown with 12 stars. This woman is the bride or the daughter of the Most High, wearing an Israelite crown with 12 stars representing the 12 tribes of Israel. Out of her comes a child, which the dragon tries to devour as soon as he was born. But the dragon fails. Then he tries to go after the woman and he fails again. Then the dragon becomes enraged with the woman and goes after the remnant of her offspring, those who kept the commandments of Yah and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. This 7-headed beast rises out of the many waters as a result. In the year 538 AD, it's given its seat and power and authority. Later, in 476, 67 million followers of Christ were persecuted in an inquisition. The remaining followers are subsequently placed into a period of darkness where having a copy of the Bible was illegal. The scriptures were then written in a language which they could not read. This would last for 1,000 years. The followers were taught that they could pay alms to obtain forgiveness, that the church minister could forgive them of their sins, but only Elohim has the power to forgive sins. So this is blasphemy. This represents a kind of light that is trying to mimic the true light, who is Christ, which Paul taught that they might bear with. In 1517, the true gospel is written side by side with the corrupted gospel, and the reader is able to read only God, the Father, and the Lord Jesus Christ has the power to forgive sins. Also, that you cannot buy forgiveness. This sparks the Reformation of the Church, or the Protestant movement, which would later lead to the Church receiving a deadly wound in 1798. Later, the Church is revived, and at this time, there's a woman sitting on the beast, representing a great city. The beast represents a nation or a kingdom, which is a land or territory. The woman represents the great city in that land or territory. So the land or territory that the woman sits on had risen out of many waters. Waters represent peoples or nations or tongues. So this beast rose out of a heavily populated area. Okay. Let's see. Where there were different cultures and languages and peoples. This is the exact opposite of the second beast of Revelation 13:11, which rose up out of the dust of the ground. If water represents a multitude of peoples, nations, and tongues, which is Revelation 17 and 15, then the dust of the ground represents the opposite, which is a sparsely populated area. And this beast has two horns like a lamb, but speaks like a dragon. This beast also has lamb like light as well as dragon darkness. There's only one nation that fits this description. When the Revolutionary War was won by the Pilgrims who fled Europe to escape the persecution of the protesting in the Protestant movement, they had come together with all the state representatives to form a supreme law by which the government would be ran. This supreme law would be called the Constitution, but the founders were divided on the issue of slavery. Slavery had been legal in this land up until this point, but enslavers of the South wanted to keep slavery legal, while Northerners wanted to abolish slavery. But in order to form a union, all states all states, they had to come to a compromise. In short, no compromise, no United States. Now, let me stop here. I got to take a breather, and I'll come back with part three shortly. God bless.